Hey there, welcome to A Year of Trek. I'm Mish, and so a couple changes have happened. Of course, we haven't been on for a whole week. Last time I checked in with everybody, or last time I was on, we had just finished the last two episodes of the original series. Then we move on to the movies. So I had planned, of course, I had planned to do this every single day. And dude, I don't know how people do it. Like, seriously, Star Trek is a passion of mine. Yes, I really enjoy it. But I also, I do so much martial arts, got a 40-hour gig, family, this, yeah, dude, I think the only way I could actually do this every single day is by not having another one of those activities. And so some changes moving forward. We're not going to do this every single day. It's just for me. I mean, I could technically, yes, I could stream in the middle of the night, but I don't know. Anyway, don't really want to do that because I have to sleep. So this is what I'm gonna do. Thursdays. So hold on, let me bring up my calendar here. So next Thursday, the 28th, is the first episode of Prodigy. I'm so looking forward to Prodigy. And then on the 18th of November, which is also a Thursday, is the first episode of Discovery. So Thursdays are still going to be new episode day. So I'm still going to do those because generally you've got time to watch. And if you don't watch, if you don't stream live with me, that's fine. Plus another big change on this is that my schedule is changing. And so I'm actually, my position has moved from what it is now. The office I work at is closing. So I'm going back to where I basically, as somebody mentioned it, back from where I was birthed. And I'm actually opening up a martial arts school. So not just teaching out of my garage, but actually teaching out of a storefront. So that is going to even occupy more of my time. But I will have Thursdays and Fridays off. Instead of Saturdays and Sundays, I'll have Thursdays and Fridays. So Thursdays and Fridays, luckily, so I'm going to basically stream on Thursdays and Fridays. So we have new Star Trek episodes on Thursdays, still going to do that. And then Fridays is going to be basically our check-in from what we've watched throughout the week. Now, this specific episode tonight is basically for the movies. technically, as day 45, we're supposed to be watching the Next Generation season premiere, or the pilot, and Encounter at Farpoint. That is still the thing. But at the same time, maybe you haven't watched it yet because maybe you're in a different time zone. So essentially, what we've been watching from last Saturday to yesterday was the 6 movies. So we're going to cover that. Next week on the 29th, we're just going to cover the first week of Next Generation. And it's going to be one of those where I'm not going to really dig deep into stuff. Well, I mean, like with the new stuff, I'll rehash the episode and, pull some stuff out. But really, I just want to talk about like the big stuff, So like if there's an episode where it's like, I really didn't like this episode and whatever, then we're not going to talk about it. But we have another 15 episodes to talk about. So that's kind of where the plan is right now. It might change because the only constant in the universe besides death and taxes is change. So, the original movies. I let's just say, I cried. I do. I've always cried in these movies. So now we'll just go through the motion picture. I cried when I first saw the Enterprise. How many times have I seen that scene? Just a billion times. It's great. Cried when I saw that. Let's see. I cried when Spock died, and I knew he was going to die in Star Trek 2. Star Trek 3. I did not cry, but I got really excited because my favorite scene from that movie is is basically Kirk stealing the Enterprise. Kirk and crew stealing the Enterprise. That's my favorite scene. I love the music. I just love it. And then of course, the very, very end. Yes, I did drop tears. Well, I didn't drop tears this time, but it is very sad. Kirk, Enterprise is diving down into the atmosphere of Genesis, and he's like, my God bones, what have I done? I always, it kind of gets me right here. And but I did cry when at the very, very end, when Spock is not just asking about the ship and all that kind of stuff, when he says, Jim, your name is Jim. And that gets me every time. Star Trek 4, again, when we see the Enterprise at the very end, gets me every time. And let's see, Star Trek 5. Yeah, I didn't I didn't cry at all in Star Trek 5. And I didn't really get teary-eyed in Star Trek 6 at all. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. So, but you notice all the, like, I cry at some of the at the relationship with Kirk and Spock, they're best friends, but it's really about seeing that beautiful ship. Now, the Enterprise I think is a gorgeous ship, but by far the movie Enterprise, this is my favorite ship. This, like, if I was Jeff Bezos, I would not be sending Shatner into space in a big penis. I would build the Enterprise in orbit and make it a freaking hotel and then shoot people up and then they can connect and then they stay the week. And, and hell, my uniforms would totally look like Starfleet uniforms. So not only would I shoot Shatner up into space, but then he could actually walk on the deck of the Enterprise. Now, of course, we don't have warp drive. It would have enough thrusters to stay in orbit, but just imagine visiting this as a hotel. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Jeff, you had a good start there, but no more penis shots. Build this and I'll be impressed. But I thank you for taking Shatner up into space. Greatest media plug ever. Smart man. Okay. So yes, I love the Enterprise. If I haven't mentioned that. So motion picture goes down as one of those that it's a long, boring movie. Not as long and boring as 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is still a fantastic movie. Sometimes it's just long. As I was watching the movie, and I actually did not fall asleep. I joked about that in the last podcast that I was ready to sleep through the motion picture, but I didn't sleep through it. I watched it and I was really like, I didn't even take notes. I normally have in all the episodes when I watch, I take notes, but I was like, no, the whole point of doing this is not necessarily take notes. I want to talk about it and, stuff that stands out, and I might jot a note down, but I want to watch Star Trek and just re-experience it, in cycle. And so I did. I just watched it. And yeah, it is long and it could be a little bit boring, but I actually really enjoyed it. Weird. I know, really enjoyed it. Now, it's funny because my wife, I'm one of those guys that because there's actors and different things, I'll make some comment. And so when we meet William Decker and Kirk is telling him that what is it? That he's, basically that he's the captain now, and Decker is now going to be the whatchamacallit. He's going to be the XO, and he's going to have a temporary rank reduction to commander. Which I don't know why they did that. Why not just keep him a captain and just make him the XO? I don't understand that part, but it is what it is. Anyway, so he's telling him this, and I'm talking back to the screen. I was like, yeah, because you like to touch little boys. And my wife was like, what do you mean? I was like, that actor, he was the father on Seventh Heaven who got in trouble because he had porn, like kiddie porn on his computer. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's right. And another Star Trek connection, his wife in that same show, didn't watch the show. I just know that there's a connection there because the gal who played Gillian Taylor in Star Trek 4 was the mother. So anyway, so I'm one of those guys that, like, I'll relate something that they're doing in another show and all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of, people are driven nuts by that. But really, I don't know. As an adult, really rewatching it, because sometimes I'll put it on in the background. It'll just be background noise while I'm doing something else. But actually paying attention and watching it, it was actually I really enjoyed the movie. So, nothing for me really stood out that really I need to talk about. I did I hate the uniforms. I'm so glad that it only lasted that one season. And I know that was part of, the motion picture was actually part of phase 2, which is going to be another show. So those uniforms are just horrible. When we get into Star Trek, The Wrath of Kahn, Star Trek 2, This is where they establish that it is the 23rd century. I think we talked about that when we hit the space seed. This movie, even watching the 6, like back to back, that like I have, Star Trek 2 is still my favorite. Hands down, my favorite Star Trek movie. Hands down. Even comparing it to the Next Generation movies, Star Trek 2 is my favorite. I love how, of course, they bring back Ricardo Montalban as Khan. We all know that. But and I forgot to mention the motion picture. They bring back Janice Rand. So Janice, of course, she's back, and I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going back here. So Janice Rand, I love that character, and I never really understood why she left. Or I had always heard rumors. I had heard something recently. I think it might have been on Trek Culture, where Janice Rand, she basically had she was sexually assaulted on set by somebody, and she went to complain, and they basically blackballed her. I was like, how fucked up is that? So it was good that she got back into it, or that they had her back for the motion picture. For Wrath of Kahn, I don't think she was in Wrath of Kahn. To be honest, I don't think she was in Wrath of Kahn. I don't remember her in Wrath of Kahn. But we have Commander Kyle. So Kyle, who was a transporter chief on the Enterprise, he is there, and we've got, Chekhov has got he's got a promotion. We've got we've got Carol Marcus and David, and they still never really establish, who was Carol the blonde that Gary Mitchell tried to set Kirk up with, that lab technician. I mean, it all kind of fits, but nothing. They never really got into any of that. But still my favorite. It's great character building. Just, oh my gosh. Nicholas Meyer. And it's so funny because there was a video I was watching of Nicholas Meyer, and somebody was like, how did you get Shatner to do such a good job in Star Trek 2? And he said, I made him bored, or something like that. Basically, Nicholas Meyer kept on doing, like, let's shoot that again. Let's do that scene again. Let's do that scene again. And basically he was trying to get Shatner to basically give him, because the first couple scenes just were like, he was like reading lines. It really wasn't very good product. And so finally he basically pestered Shatner into good acting for the movie. And oh my God, just freaking amazing. Timeline wise, I think basically Kirk is 50. So I think that's what they were establishing, is that he was 50, he was getting older. Because, or maybe he was 51, I can't really remember, but he's up there. Now, one thing I want to mention. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I forgot to get something. A prop. Okay. So this is how much I love Star Trek. I love this thing. Okay. Now, one of the props. So if you guys can see this, so on the sleeve, and I know one of the little things came off, but there is the dots and the bar. Okay. Those are supposed to be, what do you call it? There's supposed to be length of service pins. Okay. I think, let's see. I got all that. I got all the like the rank stuff and all kinds of stuff through Intergalactic Training Company like 30 years ago. Like that's how long. Yeah. Long time. Anyway, so I remember like I can't remember. I think I remember. One was supposed to recognize 10 years and one was supposed to recognize 5 years. But doesn't make sense because if you look at Shatner's, he has that. So he has 4 long ones and 3 short ones, or 3 dots. And so I was trying to figure this out. If he's 50, okay, say he's 50, even let's say 52, okay, say 52. We'll go halvesies, 51, because Star Trek 2 came out in 1982, okay, and they're all basing the years off of whatever. And so in 82, Shatner himself would have been 51 because he was born in 31. So let's make him 51 years old. Okay. So if you have those bars, if the long ones were 5, okay, that would mean, let's see, that would mean that's 20. And then you got the 3 dots, that would be 10. That was, yeah, 5 and 10. Then you have, that would be 20, and then that's 30. So that's 50. That doesn't make sense at all. So then I was thinking, okay, well, what if the big bars are 5 years and the pips are 1 year? So then that would make it 20, let's see, 28 years. Okay. And I'm going to stop doing math on there, and we're going to just get out a calculator. So 28 minus 52, that would be him entering at 24 years old, or maybe him getting out. So, but we know that he was part of the service before he was, they've already established he was part of the service before he was 24. So maybe the dots are 10, so that would be 30, and the big bars are 1, and that would be 34. Okay, so we do 51 minus 34, 17. That makes a little bit more sense that he's been in, because he would go into the academy. Okay, he'd go into the academy when he was 17 or 18, and then there you go. That makes more sense, that the big bars are 1 and the small pips are 10. Don't know why they would do it that way. Now, that being said, I really didn't pay attention to everybody else's pips. And I know I'm using pips. I know that's next generation rank thing, but like I did notice, like on Chekhov's arm, it looks something like this, like a different, but I didn't get to see what was on the other side. I mean, I didn't do any freeze framing. So, but, now you notice on mine, I have 2 pips and 1. So if we did that, when I got this uniform, I was 21 years old. So, so that basically 10, 20, 1. So there you go. Can I fit that uniform top? Unfortunately, I cannot. Let's see. regardless of all the inconsistency, like, the whole, uh, uh, whatchamacallit, Chekhov not being on the ship. I can live with that. You know, they told this one story that he used all the hot water in a latrine or something like that, and Khan was like, "Oh, I'll remember your face." Um, let's see. Yeah, just one of my favorites. Just absolutely one of my favorites. Star Trek 3. They say that the odd ones are bad. Again, I I liked 3. It has one of my favorite scenes. Like the scene, like the battle scene in Star Trek 2 it's good. Like it's really good. Um 3, I stealing the Enterprise. That's like one of my favorite scenes. Like you can't get better than that. Some of the questions I always had coming up was Captain Esteban, assuming that's his last name. Um, remember back in the show, what's it called? Shore Leave, first season, Shore Leave. There was a guy. His name was Esteban, and I always thought that might have been him. Okay, but Esteban ended up being his first name. His last name was Gomez, I think. I could be wrong. So now when they destroyed the Enterprise, the code that they put in is the exact same code that they use in Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. So sequence 1A, 2B, destruct 0, 0, 0, destruct 0. Just but it was the same thing. It was right out of the episode. So I always thought that was cool. In fact, I think on the day that we watched, I'm gonna have to bring up my calendar again. The day that we watched Star Trek 3. Oh no, not the day we watched Star Trek 3. It's actually today. Christopher Lloyd. It's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Christopher Lloyd. How old are you? How old are you today? I don't know. Oh, you're 83 today. Holy cow, you're 83. Anyway, so Christopher Lloyd, he plays the Klingon commander. You have John Larroquette. Now back in the day, if you guys don't know John Larroquette, he actually played one of the lawyers in what do you call it? Night Court. He's kind of a comedian. Don't really know much of his stuff except Night Court. Like I was a huge Night Court fan. But I think Star Trek 3 gets I don't know, it gets a bad rap. But it's not. It's a continuation of the story, you know. God, I love the stealing of the Enterprise. We get to see Janice Rand again. I know, I'm infatuated with Janice. And then we get some good shots of the Enterprise. We get basically Kirk doing Kirk. It's like we get to see. This is the first time that we actually get to see a human attempt a neck pinch, mainly because Nimoy, or not Nimoy, because McCoy has Spock's Katra in his head. Yeah, I just don't see it as a bad movie. I mean, it actually made money at the theater, so it is what it is. Now, Star Trek 4, it's funny because when I was watching Star Trek 4, my wife is like, she says, I don't want to watch this movie. She hates the whale movie. I it's a funny movie. It was actually, I think it was good. I wouldn't say that it was. I mean, I always enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. It's a good ending to the trilogy that they had kind of put together. Um, I I don't know why they keep on redesigning sets and all that kind of stuff. Um, because of course, the Klingon ship in Star Trek 3 is not the same Klingon ship. I mean, it is, but not the bridge. It's different. Now with 3 and 4, we have uh we have Savick as and that okay. We're talking about Savick. Got to go back to Star Trek 2. Christy Alley is Savick to me. I don't care. No offense to Robin Curtis. Christy Alley is Savick. Hands down, can't do anything better. In Star Trek 3, we have Savick who's taking care of Spock, young Spock. He hits the Ponfar. Of course, there's questions. How did she help him with the Ponfar? And then of course, in Star Trek 4, she stays on Vulcan. Now, I saw an interview with one of the writers, and he actually, and actually two of the writers, I guess, they actually said that in their story, and I think it made it into the novel, and this is why it's a thing, is that Savick was pregnant with Spock's kid. But it's not canon. That is not canon. And I can because of the Ponfar. And I could see her doing that, but I don't know, that's kind of stretching it. And I know that was one of their goals. They wanted to do that. But it was just one of those that yeah. So, and the whole thing of her being half Romulan, like Klingon or a Vulcan and Romulan, that's not even in the director's cut. Like, I think that was written for the book, but that was not. So personally, I don't accept that as canon. I think she was just full Vulcan. I don't like the idea of the whole her getting pregnant with Spock's kid. I think that that's cool that Spock would have a son. I think that gives, I don't know. I like it and I don't like it, but I think that totally opens up another storyline. Okay. That, at some point, did he end up going back and become, and do a fatherly thing? We never see that. Okay. My throat's getting dry. Star Trek 4, Eddie Murphy was actually supposed to be in Star Trek 4, but he was already contracted to do, I think, The Golden Child, so he wasn't able to. So, and another thing I read somewhere that Eddie Murphy, there was, I think it was the Beverly Hills Cop, when people, I guess some people he needed to basically sign contracts for to do the movie, and the first one, and he was watching Star Trek and actually made people wait until he finished watching whatever episode was on, so he could then go, okay, well, the episode's over, now I'll go sign papers. I thought that was kind of funny. I cannot remember where I saw or heard that, but that's funny. So, and again, gotta cry at the end of Star Trek 6, seeing the Enterprise. Of course, when they say, that Kirk and crew were what is it, 9 violations of they were being charged with 9 violations of Starfleet regulations, but they didn't list 9. They only listed like 6 or 7. They didn't list 9. So, but anyway, good movie. Too bad that Jillian was a throwaway character. She's just there, and it's like, I don't even have your telephone number. Star Trek 5. So, where do we go? Do we just skip over 5? I want to talk about 5. I actually kind of liked 5 until I watched it this time. I don't know. I saw 5 the day it opened twice. In fact, it was finals. I finished my final and I went to go see the movie without any of my friends. And then we met up later on and I watched it again. I saw Star Trek 5 twice on the same day, opening day. Okay. I like the ascent at the very beginning. He's climbing the mountain. I like the music. I like until they get up to the fake ass rock. When it got fake, special effects were freaking horrible. Absolutely horrible. This one was directed by Shatner. Nimoy directed 3 and 4, and I know Shatner went to the studios and he goes, well, he got to do 2 of them. Can I do 1 now? So they gave him Star Trek 5, and he's actually one of the story writers for this, along with Harv Bennett, who we actually get to see who Harv Bennett is. Harv Bennett had been like the man behind the scenes, the producer of Star Trek 2, 3, 4, and 5, and he actually plays the Admiral that Kirk talks to in the beginning. I like the kind of the play on people. It kind of gave us a different side of, it was too, I think there were too many comedic lines in it. Like, we get to see the characters in a different element. Like, you have, for instance, Chekhov and Sulu are hiking and they don't know where they are. Like, you've got the navigator and the helmsman lost. And so when Chekhov is like, don't let her know that you're lost. We're lost. We'll never live it down. I mean, hello. That's funny. Like, that's really, really funny. And so you get to see that other side, but I just think it was too much of that. The whole Scotty knocking his head on the thing. Oh, I know this place like the back of my hand. Bang. That was unnecessary. I think whoever did this, the special effects and the set design, they had no clue about the size of the Enterprise. Like, 2 shuttles side by side? No, like, it should be like 3. Like, that's actually big. It's a big shuttle bay in reality. The Enterprise doesn't have 73 floors. This, from here to here, that's like only 13 decks. Okay. Well, maybe the original. So maybe this one might be 15. I don't know. But from here to here, like, that's not, no. I think maybe 26 decks total. 26 decks total. And most of that is the engine room. Okay, we learn about Spock's brother. Um, I I don't know. I some character things. The one thing I did like, okay, forget meeting God and all that bullshit and size and distance and all that kind of stuff because they go through the center of the universe and I don't know, it's just really stupid. I liked the scene, like, well, I liked it and I didn't like it. So, he takes away Cybok takes away McCoy's pain, and he takes away, for the most part, Spock's pain. But McCoy, I've never really known McCoy to be a follower. Like he's friends with Jim and Spock, and so he'll follow them. But just to be like a blind, like I don't know, it seemed out of character for McCoy in that scene. Not that he wouldn't have fought it, because he did initially, learning, basically realizing the pain of his father and how he put him out of his misery, but then they found a cure a little bit later, blah, blah, blah. But what I liked was Kirk, where he's like, no, I need my pain. And this is like, I've talked to some people about this. People find this kind of controversial because it's like, no, we need to release our pain. We need to do that so we, be a little bit freer, and so we're not, we don't keep the trauma. I get all that. I get all that. But sometimes, even though we have, we've recovered from the pain, we still need it. We need to know that it's there, because that's who we are. It's just like Kirk said, that's who we are. That's what makes me me. I need my pain. I don't need you to take it away from me. And people are like, oh, well, he's just being he's being ridiculous. He's like, so close-minded. I don't know. I liked Kirk. That was a Kirk thing. That was very much a Kirk thing. I like that. I think when Chekhov walking after the Klingon girl, and I can't remember. I know she's some wrestler. I don't know her name. And he goes, oh, she has wonderful muscles. That reminded me of the scene from Day of the Dove, where he gets the Klingons, Kang's wife. Is it Kang? I can't remember. Anyway, he gets the Klingon captain's wife, and he's like, oh, you're, kind of all drooling over before Kirk throws him up against the wall, and he leaves makeup marks on the wall. But I was like, oh, he's kind of into Klingons. Not a bad thing. I think Klingons are kind of sexy too. Except in the Discovery universe, those Klingons are fucking nasty. Anything else I have to say about that? I don't know. No, not really. Star Trek 6. Another Nicholas Meyer movie. He did 2, he did 6. Just amazing. You have Shakespeare in the original Klingon throughout the movie. Such a masterpiece. I think everybody did a really good job. I think it was a good closure for the next generation, or for the original generation. I when I saw Star Trek 6 for the first time, it was shortly after Gene Roddenberry had died. I can't remember on what day he passed away, and I can't remember when the movie came out, but I know that he had already passed away. At least that's how I remember it. I could be totally wrong though. But I skipped school. I was in college. I skipped my classes, and I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm going to go see Star Trek. And she's like, well, aren't we all going to see it tonight? I'm like, no, no, no. I'm going to see it by myself because I didn't really want to see it with her and her friends and have that. I wanted to see like I was one of those people. I saw the first showing. I was a first showing guy. Even like midnight showings. I'm a first showing guy. So in Portland, um, uh, uh, they had replaced the Broadway theater with a new Broadway theater. And I don't know how many theater seats it had or how many theaters it has, but um, it was funny. I parked and when I drive, I was driving up Broadway and I just saw this line of people just going around the corner. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I was getting here early and there was a line down the block. And I'm like, holy cow. So I find parking and I get in the elevator and I go down the elevator and I open the door and what is right there but the ticket booth? Like it's right there. And so I just walked. I was that like nobody complained. Nobody complained at all. I just opened it up and I walked right in and I got my tickets and I found my seat. Like I didn't have to stand in line. It was so cool. And I remember getting in there, finding my seat, sitting down, and I could feel the energy. There was so much excitement in the air. And even now that I'm talking, I can feel the energy off my hands as it radiates. I could feel the energy. And it was just so awesome. It's like, I'm going to be watching this movie with people who love Star Trek as much as me. No, I didn't dress up for it. Just me in a t-shirt and jeans. But it was like, I was seeing this movie. It was so amazing. And it was just such an amazing, oh my God. I just loved watching the movie. Absolutely loved it. I did see it a second time with my girlfriend and her friends. And I'm so glad that I got to see it by myself with a bunch of other Trekkies because her friends fucking ruined the movie for me. Just, they talk and they're like, oh, what's this? So I'm super glad I had that experience. Um, I I think it was done. I think Star Trek 2 is still a better movie. But I think it was really well done. I love some of the space shots on the ship. When the Enterprise is coming to Kittimer. Love some of that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So got to talk about this. Long time ago, I had a Star Trek website where I would write little articles. It has since gone away. I haven't had it for a long time. It was actually kind of an anti-Star Trek website for Star Trek lovers. But it's basically kind of a theory thing. So Star Trek 6 and this bird of prey that can fire while cloaked. Oh my gosh. So amazing. People are like, oh, I wonder how they did it. Oh, gee, you've got all these really geeked Star Trek people going, oh my gosh, how do they do it? And I'm like, it's simple. Like to me, like it totally made sense. To me, I got it right away. And you don't have to do a lot of thinking. Look at the special effects. Look at the special effects. We see a bird of prey in Star Trek 3, right? And it fires plasma balls at the Enterprise and at the Grissom. Okay. Different color. Okay. In Star Trek 6, this bird of prey fires red balls. Okay. Red balls of light. When the Enterprise, even in Star Trek 2, when the Enterprise fired a photon torpedo, what color is it? It's red. Well, it doesn't take a lot of energy to fire a torpedo. You just basically light the fuse on the back and it goes, okay? Plasma energy, you need to create all that plasma energy and then shoot it out. So of course, if the cloaking device is taking up too much energy, you have to shut that down so the energy can be routed to the plasma device so we can shoot off the plasma. So if you're cloaked and all you need to do is just light a fuse, doesn't take a lot of brain cells. So they were not firing plasma, they were just firing photon torpedoes. And how did those torpedoes hit along the Enterprise? Just like any other photon torpedo. So anyway, I wrote an article about that. And I wrote another article, but we'll get to that when we get to Generations. So that'll be after we finish the Next Generation. So easy. It's a prototype. Yeah, it was a prototype that all they did was change out the plasma, the plasma thingy for a photon thingy. That's all they did. It wasn't big. I know people, I've heard people don't really like the fact that Spock basically mind raped Valeris, and that scene never bothered me, but they're not wrong. Like, he totally grabbed her by the back of the head and forced his way into her brain. So yeah, he totally fucking mind raped her. And you can even see her lip quiver, like trauma. But you know what? I hate to be a victim blamer, but she shouldn't have done what she did. Loved to see Sulu. Sulu got the Excelsior. They had been talking about that. I think that was actually in one of the books that he was supposed to get the Excelsior. I think I could be wrong, but he was supposed to get the Excelsior, but he decided to go on the training mission with Kirk. And so they ended up giving it to Styles. So I'm glad that he ended up getting the Excelsior. And I really, they had an Excelsior episode in Voyager, and I don't know why they didn't capitalize on having a Star Trek show around Captain Sulu and his crew. Oh my God, that would have been fantastic. Janice Rand is on his ship. I mean, I don't know. It just, I wish Paramount had done something like that back then. I wish, that would have been so awesome. People are too old now, but yeah, I think it would just be awesome. And really they couldn't do it now. I mean, they could, but they shouldn't. Because honestly, Captain Sulu, all, fine. The guy who plays him, Harold from Harold and Kumar. Harold plays a great Sulu in the Kelvinverse, but having basically Star Trek Excelsior, it could only be with George Takei. Honestly, you can't have a stand-in for that. So just Paramount, you had your chance, should have done it. Let's see. There was something else. Can't remember what it was. Another callback to the original series. And so I mentioned this in all our yesterdays, where McCoy and Spock get into 5,000 years later, and they're in this freezing thing, and McCoy falls and goes, "Oh, just leave me behind." In Star Trek 6, when they're on Ruapente and they're following the changeling gal, Chameleoid or whatever she is. And he falls and he's like, "Oh, just leave me behind." I thought that was funny. So when I saw that movie, I laughed. I got the joke. Some people didn't get the joke. I found that funny. Yeah. Let's see. I saw a meme the other day that basically the three actors that were part of the what is it? Part of the Klingon conspiracy were the same three actors who played different characters in DS9 during the Dominion War. I don't think I had that. Yeah, I'm not going to look it up. I have it somewhere. I thought it was kind of funny. It's like, ooh, 6 degrees is Kevin Bacon. This is going to come to an end because I can't think of anything more. There might have been something else, but I can't remember it. There we go. Okay. Unless, of course, something pops in my head, we're just going to move forward. So, today, as in today, we're supposed to watch the pilot of Star Trek, The Next Generation, where we get to watch them in their own bad versions of uniforms. So, what's on the docket? So today we've got whatever that show is, Encounter at Farpoint. Tomorrow, Naked Time, Code of Honor. Oh my God, Code of Honor. Oh, what a racist episode. We'll talk about it later. The Last Outpost. Sunday, Where No One Has Gone Before. Lonely Among Us. And then Monday we have Justice and The Battle. And then on Tuesday we have Hide and Q, so we get to see Q again. And then Haven. And then Wednesday, The Big Goodbye and Data Lore. And then on Thursday we have Angel One, and we have 11001001. So when we meet again on the 29th, which is a week from today, we will be talking about those episodes. Okay. So from the 22nd to the 28th. And then, of course, just keep up with your watching. We'll check in. I might do something here and there. And actually, on the 28th, we have the first episode of Prodigy. So I will be on the 28th, but I will only be talking about Prodigy. Okay. So, so there you go. I know, an hour. I talked for an hour about 6 movies. It's actually not that bad. And that was just all from memory. I didn't take notes. If I have a notepad, I do want to kind of take notes. But I just kind of also want to enjoy. And I want to encourage you guys, just watch the shows. This was part of making Star Trek an everyday thing. Okay. Make Star Trek an everyday thing. All right. There you go. If you've been watching this far and you haven't subscribed, liked, shared, or any of those really cool things, do so now. But until then, live long and prosper, and I will see you on the next episode.